All right, guys. Some of you have seen me before. I see some familiar faces. I've been here probably 4 times now. But just a little bit about me. When I graduated from Dover in 2007, I went into college to Mount Union to study exercise science. And then from there, when I graduated in 2011, I went to the University of Akron to study exercise physiology for my master's degree. So one of the reasons why I even got into studying exercise physiology and exercise science, because I was so intrigued by how our bodies are wired to work. So one of the cool things that our bodies can do is something that's called neurogenesis, okay? So this is probably the nerdiest part of my presentation, so just bear with me. So when we look at neurogenesis, when we break that word down into 2 spots, okay, neuro meaning nerve, and then genesis meaning like creation or beginning. So when you put those 2 together, that means creation of new nerves. Okay, so without getting all scientific and all this physiology stuff that you guys can care less about, I'm just going to try to summarize it to, just kind of break it down so you guys can understand. So inside of our brains, there's this part in our brains called the hippocampus, which is our center for learning and memory. Okay, this is where neurogenesis takes place. Inside of that hippocampus, we have these specific neurotransmitters called dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine. These are things that you guys can get over the counter that's prescribed by a pharmacist to help us make us feel good. For people that have depression symptoms and stuff like that, these are the drugs that help us make us feel better. So what happens is when we're exercising, okay, there's a stress that's put on our body. Stress meaning like when your heart rate is elevated, your blood pressure is elevated, and all those things. So that sends a chain reaction up to our brain, okay? And those neurotransmitters are just dying to be released, okay? They want to be released. They want to get out of that little cell that they're in, okay? So when those things are released, okay, and they're bound to new neurotransmitters in our brain, neurogenesis is occurring. So what that basically means in a nutshell is we all have the ability to create how we want to think and feel and what we want our attitude to be like. So if we're feeling good with those, those dopamine and serotonin being released in our brain, we're literally creating new nerves that are making us have a positive attitude and have a better outlook on just everyday life. So for those of you that are in like an exercise program or thinking of starting an exercise program, I have broke down 5 things that you guys need to keep in mind. Okay? Your exercise program should have variety. Okay? What I mean by variety is if you're someone that just spends 3 days a week, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just doing, let's say, just walking on the treadmill for 45 minutes. Okay? First of all, I'm going to say that good for you that you're even doing something that's physical, okay? But if you have specific goals and like a specific weight that you want to get to, or if you want a specific pant size that you want to get to, okay, and you feel like you're not getting there, it's because you don't have enough variety in your workout, okay? Our bodies are accustomed to only do what they have to, or only do what it has to, okay? It's never going to do more than what it should, okay? So if I'm only walking on the treadmill at, just 3 miles an hour for 45 minutes, that's all I do, then my body's just going to get used to that over and over again. So we need more variety. So we need to lift weights. We need to do yoga. We need to do spinning. It's anything, okay? Anything you can think of. Ride a bike, swim, anything that you can think of. We just need to keep confusing our body so our bodies don't get accustomed to what we're doing. Okay? Number 2 is consistency. This is a big one. Okay? If you're not consistent in your exercise plan, then it's too easy to fall off the wagon. All right? So I have written down, exercise should be a priority. All right? We all know that. But it's hard to get our minds wrapped into like really staying consistent if it's something new that's not a part of your life right now. Okay? But, it should be a part of your life. It should be a priority. It's no different than brushing your teeth, taking the kids to school, waking up in time for work, showing up to work, whatever, okay? It should be a part of your day no matter what. Now, I have written down that if you have specific goals to meet, then exercise should be performed at least 5 to 7 times a week, okay? Now, I would say no less than 3, but at least that's something. But if you're really serious about making a goal or making a certain weight, then I would say 5 to 7 days a week is the number that you would have to do at least something physical, okay? Number 3, intensity, okay? Now this one gets a little confusing with people sometimes because people think of intensity as what's an example, like CrossFit or like the Tough Mudder and half marathon. Okay, yeah, that's intense. Yeah, that's what that means. But also what intensity means is like extra reps, working out for a longer period of time, running or swimming, biking a longer distance than normal, okay? Deeper range of motion, those all fall into intensity, okay? So, just an example, I'm gonna go back to my variety example. So if I'm just walking on the treadmill at 3 miles an hour, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for 45 minutes, okay? So let's say I do that, and then on Wednesday, I get on the treadmill and I'm bumping up to 3.5 miles an hour, okay? It's not that big of a difference, but it's still increasing the intensity. That's an example. Another example is if you're someone that lifts weights, okay, and you're doing bench press at 185 pounds for 10 reps, okay, let's say, why don't you move it up to 195 pounds and do 8 reps, okay? That's intensity because you're adding weight to it, okay? This is all going to help change our bodies to get to where you want to be. Now, this is I think this is the most important slide because as someone that's worked in the gym and coached people for 6 years, I get this all the time. So purpose is number 4. So what's the purpose of your exercise plan? Like what drives you to even, is it just because that you're just supposed to? I mean, there should be a plan in your head of why you're even doing what you're doing, okay? So I have written down, exercise for the quality of your life, not for looks, okay? This is the biggest thing. So for an example, people say, well, hey, I got a wedding coming up in July. I got to be X amount of pounds. I got to fit into this dress, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's all great and all, but first of all, why, like, just because of the wedding, now we have that sense of urgency? Like, you should have, like, it should be, you know, you should have that sense of urgency no matter if you have a wedding or not. And then, after the wedding is over, then what? You just say, forget it. Okay, I got my weight, and I fit into the dress, oh, I look great, and all that stuff, and then, I mean, no one cares. So, it should be for the quality of your life, not what you look like, okay? If you're following all these things in your exercise plan, then the looks are going to come with it, okay? But it's way more important to have flexibility, to have strength, to decrease your medicine intake, all those things, okay? That's what's going to keep you healthy throughout your life, okay? So, when you're setting goals for yourself, okay, I have a little acronym here called SMART goals, all right? Because we don't want to set dumb goals, right? Okay, SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time specific. So, when we talk about specific, when you write down a goal, okay, it should answer 5 questions. Who, what, where, why, and when. So, who was involved? Is it just you? Is it you and your husband or wife? Is it you and your brother or sister? You and your mom? It doesn't matter. You and your friend? It doesn't matter, okay? So, when would you like to attain your goal? When are you going to be doing your exercise? These are all things that are important because this is what's going to keep you on track. What is it that you're looking to achieve? Are you looking to lose weight? Are you looking to gain strength? Are you looking to run a half marathon? Are you looking to complete a 5K, swim a 5K? It doesn't matter. Or if you just want to be overall healthier, that's fine too. When? So, did I already say when? Sorry. Where? Where would you like to do this? Okay, where are you going to complete your exercise? Okay, the answer to that is Super Fitness and Route 250, by the way, in case you're wondering. But no, seriously. It doesn't matter if you're going to be outside. Okay, make sure that's all in the plan, because if you're not following these things, then it's too easy to fall off track. And lastly, why? So why is it that you want to achieve this goal? Is it because this can be a specific reason? So this is where the wedding would come in and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, when that wedding date is over, we should be continuing our exercise plan as follows. Okay. Secondly, measurable. If your goal is not measurable, then it's impossible to even achieve. Okay. So if you're someone that says, I want to be able to run my first 5K, which is 3.1 miles. Okay. So that's measurable, because if you're scheduling out that the days that you're running, say you only run half mile on this day, and then the next day you run 3/4 of a mile, and then you run a mile. Those are all measurable, because you can physically see on paper that you're increasing your goal. And you're getting closer and closer to that 5K mark. Attainable, number 3. Okay, if you know inside your mind that your goal is attainable, and then you develop this sense of positive attitude that you know it can be achieved. Okay, this is where the cliche comes in, that you can do anything you set your mind to. Okay, this is where that comes from. So if you know that you're able to, you know that you can complete this 5K, and wherever, it doesn't matter what the time is, you know you can run 3 full miles without stopping, then you're going to do whatever it takes in your training to make sure that you're able to accomplish that goal whenever that race is, or whenever that run is. Okay? Realistic, number 4. Okay? The goal should be realistic. It shouldn't be, hey, Eric, I want to lose 30 pounds by February 1st. Okay? That's bad. First of all, it's probably realistic in a way, but it's not healthy realistic. There's probably ways to do that, like if you cut off your arm or whatever. But seriously though, if you said, Eric, I want to lose 30 pounds by June 1st, okay, we can talk, because that's a good way that's plenty enough time to lose healthy weight. We can lose enough fat, we can build enough muscle, and we can get that metabolism going, and then we can start that healthy cycle in our body. Okay? Now, when it comes to realistic, just because you have a high goal doesn't mean it's not realistic. Okay? You can say, all right, I want to run a half marathon someday. Well, yeah, that's a high goal, especially if you're not a runner. But that doesn't mean that it's not realistic. It might take longer than you expect. But as long as you put in the time and effort that's required, and you follow these 5 things that I'm talking about, you can achieve that goal even if you never thought it would be possible one day. Number 5, time specific. Okay? If your goal does not have an end date, right, then there's no sense of urgency to even get it completed. So I'm going to go back to my 30 pounds goal. Okay? If I say, what are you looking to achieve this year, Susan? And she says, well, I think I just want to lose 30 pounds this year. Okay, cool. So do you have a date in mind? Like, do you have when do you want to lose 10 pounds by? When do you want to lose 15, 20? Those are little things that we can look for on our way to that big goal of 30 pounds. I don't know. I just feel like, it would just happen if I just keep going. Okay, so A, wrong, by the way. 2, if that's the way that you think, this is what's going to happen. So you look at your exercise plan on your calendar. Monday, spinning. Tuesday, yoga. Wednesday, weightlifting. Thursday, treadmill or cardio, whatever. Spinning, doesn't matter. This is what's going to happen. If there's no end date on your goal, then you're just going to go home from work on Wednesday and go, it's just weightlifting today. I'll do it tomorrow. All right? I kind of want to watch a game tonight. Or I'm not feeling like I just want to go into the gym today. I mean, I feel pretty good, but the couch is really comfortable right now. That's what happens to everybody, okay? And what happens then is that just snowballs and snowballs and snowballs into then we're just completely sabotaged everything that we've done up to that point, because now we've developed this like Neanderthal mentality, like, well, I just don't feel good. I just don't want to work out anymore. That's what happens, okay? When we stay on track and we know that June 1st is coming up, then we still keep that sense of urgency whenever we're working out, and your positive attitude stays there. Okay. Fifth one, probably the most important one, is food. All right? What are we eating? If you're doing all this, if you're doing great 4 or 5 days a week of exercise, and then you go home and you're eating crap, then you're going to feel like crap. You're just kind of canceling out everything that you just did all week. I deal with this all the time. The next slide is what I'm going to talk about. Three clients that are, there's real life stories, but I changed their names to keep them anonymous, but I'll explain that in a bit. So, what is the importance of eating healthy? All right. Picture, like, view yourself as, like, say if you had a Ferrari, all right? Let's say we all had enough money to buy Ferraris and whatever car you wanted, okay? Are you going to give it the worst or the cheapest fuel and the worst maintenance you can? No. You're going to be willing to give it what it needs and requires to be able to keep it running at a high performance that it is. That's the same way our bodies are, okay? If we're completely feeding our bodies sludge and crap and sugar, okay, we're just slowing ourselves down on purpose, all right? So we got to view yourself as a high performance machine, like a Ferrari or whatever your dream car is, okay? That's the way to think about it. So when I say health, fitness, and happiness, just think of food as health, exercise is fitness. Okay, when you put those together, you become a more overall happier person. You might think you're happy now, but I'm telling you, if you got into an exercise program and you started eating healthier, your positive attitude would just skyrocket. It happens with everybody. Everyone that stays on track, they feel good, they affect others with their positive energy and their positive outlook on life, and that stuff's contagious, because when people see that your attitude is like that, then they want to be like that, and it's just infectious. It spreads. So these are 3 clients that I've had currently or in the past in my 6 years. Okay, I'm going to give you examples of how they sabotage their success. All right, let's talk about Brenda. She's a female. She's 59 years old. She was she had a sedentary lifestyle. She was 270 pounds when she came to see me for personal training and guidance. Her husband runs a local business, so she stays at home and kind of keeps the books for the business. So she doesn't work. She just kind of oversees that stuff at home. So she's at a desk all day. She's in front of the TV, so she's not moving really well or at all. Okay, so she comes in to see me and she tells me all this stuff. Okay, so we're doing exercise. She's doing great. She's with me 3 days a week. She's coming in on the days that she's not with me and walking, riding a bike, doesn't matter. Okay, she's losing 10 pounds a month, going great, and then it starts slowing down. So then I'm starting to think, what's going on here? So what was happening was, since her husband wasn't on board with her lifestyle change, he was influencing her to, hey, I don't want to eat healthy tonight. I want to go to Texas Roadhouse. I want to go to Outback Steakhouse. Nothing wrong with those places. I like those places too. But when you have it 4 or 5 times a week, places like that, you guys all been there. You guys know what the portions are like. You guys get 3 or 4 times more than what you even think of needing. Okay? So that's where she was sabotaging everything that she was doing in the gym, because of the fact that her husband wasn't willing to sacrifice like the stuff that he wanted to eat for her, even though that she was having obvious success in her training regimen. Daniel, he's someone that I have currently right now. He's 40. He's moderately active. He's involved with like recreational sports and stuff like that. And he lifts weights with me 3 days a week. and he does really well. Like, he's getting stronger. You can physically see on paper that how much stronger he's gotten, how much flexible he's gained. But his downfall is on Friday and Saturday, he loves his beer, he loves his cocktails, and when you start putting those things in your body, then you start reaching for finger food, chips, peanuts, and then it becomes pizza, wings, burgers. Yeah, you know how it goes, okay? I know there's people out there that are like, yeah, that sounds familiar, okay? So when he's like, hey, how can I lose this extra inch or two around my belly button, okay? Well, start with, on your Friday and Saturday night, try not to sabotage everything that you've done all week by, killing 10, 11, 12 beers and then drinking or eating pizza and burgers, and then you come on Monday and then you have a crappy workout because of all the stuff that you did to your body on the weekend. Okay, but he does so well from Monday to Thursday, and then on Friday and Saturday he just lets loose and he sets himself back. Even though he's getting stronger, the fact that his metabolism isn't there and he's not losing the fat that he thought he should be is because of that. Now Danielle, she's the last one. She's 28, she's single, no kids. She's lightly active. I put lightly active because that's what she currently is. She used to be a runner. She's run, I think, 4 half marathons, and she weighs 145 pounds right now. She used to weigh 135, but she had got a promotion, I think as like a nursing director or something like that. So she's required, not required, but since she's in that position of like manager position, like she's been putting in 70, 75 hours a week. So she's very successful for her age, but now she's saying, well, when I come home from work, I just don't have the energy to even think about exercising. I used to run and lift weights, all this stuff. Now I just completely just don't do it anymore because all I do is work. Like I'm at work all day and I'm just tired when I go home. All right, so she goes to work at say 8 or 9. So what I try to do is, first of all, there's 24 hours in a day. We all know that. And Super Fitness is open 24 hours a day. So, if you're really serious about it, this is what I tell her. If she's really serious about it, then she can get up at 5 a.m., come to the gym at 5:30 a.m., run, do whatever she needs to do, shower, get ready, go straight to work. That way, when she comes home from work, she doesn't even have to think about it because she's already got it done. Okay? That is something that is a lifestyle change that we're all not comfortable with because we all know what time we get up in the morning. We're all used to the time that we get up in the morning. So when you add that change to your life, that's something that you obviously don't want to do, and it's going to be uncomfortable for the first 2 weeks. But once you get into that rhythm, it just becomes part of your day. And then you become consistent, and then your goals just fall into place. I'm going to skip through a couple slides here, but I'm going to give you the main reason why people sabotage their success is because of sugar. Okay? So I'm just going to give you a couple tips on how to cut out sugar from your diet. All right? So when you're at the grocery store and you're looking at a food label, pay attention to any of the ingredients that end in OSE, OS. Okay, like for example, high fructose corn syrup or dextrose. Okay, also on the ingredients list, if they're labeled first, okay, whatever is labeled closer to the beginning is the most prominent product in that food. Okay, so if dextrose is labeled second, then get rid of it. Okay, that's bad. Secondly, out of sight, out of mind. If you don't have a bowl of M&Ms at your house on your table, then you won't be thinking about it. But if it's there and you walk by it every morning, I'm the same way. I would be tempted to grab a handful of those M&Ms on my way out the door or whatever. That's just an example. If they're not in front of you, if you're not at your desk, if that stuff's not in front of you, then you're not even going to be thinking about it. Thirdly, sugar-filled drinks like Pop, Gatorade, Powerade. Okay, those are all unwanted calories in our diet. Those are all filled with sugar as well. Okay, that's something that a lot of people don't think about. Fourthly, exercise. If you're exercising and releasing those feel-good hormones, then you're not going to be needing sugar to do that for you. Okay, that's the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, you can visit our website, teamsuperfit.com, like us on Facebook, or you can email me directly at eric@teamsuperfit.com. Thank you guys for having me. Have a good day.